A lot of people think life is funfair. Life is warfare.
Let me tell you something about seasons. And you find our parents keep telling us this. When you grow up, when you get to my age, you'll understand. Older people love saying that. When you get to my level, you'll understand.
Yes.
It's very simple. There's a character to seasons. Number one, seasons are repetitive.
Yes.
We do summer, winter, spring, and then we repeat. We go through sun, and then we go through rain, we go through cold, and repeat. So seasons tend to repeat themselves.
Yes.
Similarly, that is just what we know physiologically. Similarly, even in your life, there are things that you will keep repeating themselves. And if you don't pick the lesson, then you'll find yourself repeating the class.
Wow.
For example, when you're going through a season where you're supposed to understand relationships and you're supposed to understand how to deal with people and how to be patient with people and how to manage people that you're leading and how to subordinate yourself. If you don't go through that season and learn the lesson comes back, but you fail, and it's more expensive.
It's more expensive.
And the problem with repeating lessons is you're older. Can you imagine repeating class 8 4 times? You're growing older. You're getting more frustrated.
Your mind is a bit slow.
Your mind is getting slower, and you're competing with people who are much younger than you, and there's a frustration of that. If you ponder the parts of your feet, if you look at your life, and you become a student of your life, you're going to notice a pattern in your life that you need to break or take advantage of.
I like that pattern.
You'll see there are people who end up in the same relationship every time, end up in a wrong relationship every time. I remember we used to talk about girls who would always end up with bad boys, and they're always crying and saying, oh, this guy broke my heart. If you look at your life, you're going to find that it's the same boy.
It's the same boy, but in a different
form. In a different way. When the teacher gives you a different exam because you failed the other one, he doesn't give you the same exam. It's the same level, but the exam comes different.
The exam comes different.
When you repeat a chemistry class, if your teacher is graceful enough to allow you to repeat, he doesn't give you the same paper you did last time. Gives you a different paper. So that boyfriend is going to be the same person. First time he had dreadlocks. Second time he doesn't have dreadlocks. The other time the guy is a drug dealer. The other time the guy is a drunkard. The other time he's physically violent. But it's the same character, the same principle. Because you failed to learn the lesson. When we fail to understand the season and learn the lessons we are supposed to learn, the lesson repeats itself in a slightly different way. So you must be a student of your life. You must look at your life and ask yourself, what's the pattern that is developing? Do I keep resigning at the same time?
Do I keep on changing? It's good. It's good to change.
Do I keep changing jobs at the same time? Do you know I audited my life and I realized I kept resigning after 2 years.
Wow.
I kid you not. I started working in 2006 and I realized I never worked for more than 2 years in a place. I always resigned after 2 years. Whatever I was doing, I always resigned after 2 years. I realized a cycle. So when I started business, I realized, you know what? I have to do 5 years.
You have to break that cycle.
I am breaking the cycle because I noticed that this is a class I never pass. Because if you don't do anything for more than 2 years, a rolling stone gathers no
and I like the aspect you brought where you have to go through that process, or the exam will come later on in life. Where you can't be able to match. And somebody said that what you gain without process, you will lose it. You see, that's why they bring the stages from nursery to class 1 to class 2 to class 3 all the way to class 8. Then there's a level. If you take a primary student and throw them in Form 4, they will fail, not because they're not bright, but because there's a law to process. You see. And even I like the fact that I'm reminded of the Israelites when they were transiting from Egypt to to Israel through the desert. And there's a point they told Moses, take us back to where we were. We miss the garlic. We miss
we miss the onions.
We miss the onions. But so how do you now break? Because life is in seasons. How do you now detach yourself from this season? Because for you it was your own COVID with your family. How do you detach yourself from that? Because a lot of us have trouble, staying with the last season, staying with the last failure, staying with the past relationship that didn't work.
Yes.
How do you now detach yourself from you've learned the lessons, how do you detach yourself from that point where you're now saying, I've learned this, and I will not be attached to that failure. I'll not be attached to my past.
Yeah.
You've heard of somebody saying, oh, this was former so-and-so.
Yes.
Former Prime Minister.
Yes.
Sorry, Baba. But
yes.
former, how do you now separate yourself?
For me, this is how I look at it. And
yes.
we are, just yesterday, I'm a football fan. Just yesterday, Mourinho got sacked by Tottenham because of a dismal season.
Yes.
And I remember when Mourinho was in Manchester United, there's a time that he would lose, and then he lost 3-0, I think, to someone. And someone says, he said, you know what this means?
Yes.
Yes, 3-0, but you know what it means?
Yes.
3 titles I won with Manchester United last season.
Wow.
And allow me to use Mourinho as an example.
Yes.
The reason why people fail to accept and to roll with change is because they become so emotionally and romantically connected to their past that they fail to understand that the future can be painful and successful.
Yes.
You see, the place where you're going is bigger than where you've come from.
Yes.
And every time you're going through a change in season, you have to understand that that season brings a mixed bag of blessings.
Yes.
That season could bring with it challenges,
yes.
it could bring with it pain, and it could bring with it blessing. So one of the things that helps is expecting the failure.
Yes.
You need to expect yourself to fail.
Yes.
You see, when failure catches you as a surprise,
I think people need to hear that.
Yes, you need to expect it.
Fail. Yes.
Not prepare. There's a difference. Preparing is fine, but expect it. That you're looking and saying, I'm going to fail. Yes. But it's not failure falling flat on your face. It's failure picking yourself up and understanding the lesson behind that.
Wow.
When you're mentally prepared for seasons of falling down as well as picking up, then your life becomes more comfortable because you understand you're in the middle of a process.
Yes.
And you stop getting emotionally connected with your past, because failure makes you look back and say, I remember those days, man. I remember high school when we had no problems.
Yes.
I remember campus when we used to just relax and go to class. You keep looking at your past, you're going to find yourself struggling to embrace your future. And let me say something. Every time you move to a different level, it's going to fight you.
Yes.
Every new level is going to fight you.
Every new level has new devils.
It has new devils.
New challenges.
Levels have got gatekeepers.
Yes.
Each level does not like new members.
Yes.
When you walk into a place, into a group, let's say it's a cocktail or you walk into a room.
Yes.
People first of all look at you and say, who is this?
They size you.
They size you up.
Yes.
When I use the example of school. When a class 8 student is, the biggest first body.
Yes.
Then you go to Form 1 and you're a rabble.
Yes.
It rejects you.
It rejects you.
Form 3s, Form 2s, Form 1s, they all fight you.
Yes.
They're like, who are you? Who do you think you are? They beat you. In our years, they used to beat you. They make you wash their clothes.
Wow. Yes.
They do all those things because that level is rejecting you.
That's very powerful.
If you're not comfortable with that rejection, then you're going to want to go back to class 8.
Yes.
When you go to campus, it's the same thing. When you get a new job, you're not the first person to get the travel allowance, to get the phone allowance. No, you're the last person. You sit at the end of the table.
Yes.
Because it's a new level. When you come into employment, it's a new level. This thing that you're dreaming about, you need to get comfortable with the fact that, first of all, it's going to fight you so that it's asking you a question. Do you really want this?
Yes.
Are you sure you want to come to high school?
It's testing.
It's testing you. It's a law of nature.
Yes.
It's a law of nature. When you're coming into a new level, it must fight you.
Yes.
Look at planes when they are taking off. The highest resistance is when you're moving from takeoff into the new law of aerodynamics. That's where the highest resistance is. That's where a plane burns its most fuel. That's where you need the highest level of concentration. That's where you buckle up and do all those things.
Yes.
Because this new level of flying is fighting you. It's asking you, who are you?
Who are you?
You have no business in the air.
Yes.
You are heavy. You are mankind. You're meant to walk. Who are you?
Are you ready in your mind for the eventuality of anything?
Yes.
Have you grown your capacity to be able to endure that? The process of pain, the process of joy. Are you able to transit from the process of excitement to the process of now focusing, because a lot of us get excited about the victory. Hey, we want to stay there. We've done this.
Yes.
COVID happened, and yes, there was lockdown,
yes,
but our hotel has achieved this, and you want to stay there. I remember yesterday our sales director was talking about the numbers, and she spoke about how many numbers did you get, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to grace out of the topic. But she asked a question to the staff, and she said, "Are you sure when there was no lockdown, would you have done this number?" No, but in this season they were celebrating this number, but yet, if you put it in perspective, that's nothing.
Yes.
So we need to be able to ready our minds to be able to always go to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
The Japanese have a saying, they say kaizen, constant and never-ending improvement.
Yes.
You need to always constantly improve. To the farmer, yes, he has harvested, but he's constantly tilling the ground, constantly readying himself for the next level.
Yes.
And I like flying, but the part I don't like about flying is when the hostesses come and tell you, in case of emergency, I always put on my earphones. But I like the aspect you brought where you have to expect to fail. We're not saying that you're going to expect to die in that season.
Yes.
But you have to be ready for anything. You see, a soldier, when they go for war, life is like war. A lot of people think life is funfair. Life is warfare. And if you approach life like a warrior, if you approach life like a soldier, then you'll be able to be advantaged, because a soldier doesn't think about death when they're approaching life. They don't care. In fact, you're the one who cares about death. You're the one who feels pity for him.
Yes.
But him, he doesn't think about death because he knows the difference between him and succeeding is him killing the enemy.
Yes.
Yes. What will keep this soldier in the battlefield is the victory mentality.
Yes.
So even as we go through these seasons, we have to have a victory mentality. Like, I'm not here to die.
Yes.
I'm not here to, because it's season. That's why it's called seasons.
Yes.
It will end.
Yes.
But what will I pick from this?
Because you will remain.
You will remain. Will I be victorious or will I be a failure? Will I be emotional about, will I do a worship? Somebody said that there's a scripture. Allow me to put this scripture into perspective. There's a scripture that says, there has no temptation taken you that is common to man. But God is faithful, who will make a way out of that temptation. So there are certain things, because of time I won't get into them, but the most thing I want to bring out is the fact that it is common. So commonize your failure. Make it common. You're not the only one going through.
Yes.
Commonize. When you commonize it in your mind, then you'll conquer it. So in every season, I think you have to commonize failure.
And I love what you said about capacity.
Yes.
Let me harp on that a bit.
Yes.
You know, the seasons come to build your capacity.
Yes.
And to increase your array of weapons. We were talking about arrows.
Arrows, yes, I remember.
And we were saying that laws are like arrows.
Yes.
When you understand the law of gravity, you have one arrow.
When your quiver is full.
Yes. When you understand the law of aerodynamics, now you have two arrows.
Yes.
Where gravity doesn't work, you pull in aerodynamics.
Yes.
Similarly, like now in the hotel industry, or for an entrepreneur, every season that you're going through is meant to teach you a new skill.
Yes.
And I remember when we were starting off, we didn't know how to survive.
Yes.
And we didn't know how to make profit. We didn't know the dynamics of making profit.
Yes.
And we had to learn how to make profit. And I remember it took me a year to learn how to make profit.
How to make profits.
You know, there's a science to making profit.
Yes.
Because you can find that the more profit you make, the more expenses you have. The more profit you make, the more expenses you have.
Yes.
There's a science to making profit as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I didn't know, at that time, I didn't know how to make profit.
Yes.
And I didn't know how to deal with people. Because I was the only entrepreneur.